Well, first of all, I want you to know that you have my and many Americans' support, right? No matter what is going on in this country, we have our own troubles going on in this country, as you know. But many Americans understand the illegality of what Russia did and how brave you guys. I mean, it's amazing. You guys are in the fourth year of that war, and that war was supposedly going to take 2 weeks before Russian tanks were running through Kiev. So the bravery of the Ukraines, is the world sees it. Um, and this is a difficult time for the world across. The Ukrainian, what's happening for you guys are one front in a transition that is happening across the world, where the world seems to be stepping back from democracy and stepping once again into like preparing itself for war and hardship. And in my own life, I told you about my brother, but also my mom was, my family. I lost, most of my family on my mom's side was lost to the Holocaust. My mom was what was called a kinder transport. She was put on when she was 9 years old. She was put on a train and sent out of Germany to save her life. Um, and my father was a soldier in World War II who fought in the Battle of the Bulge. Fought against the Nazis in the Battle of the Bulge and came back with pretty bad post-traumatic stress syndrome. Though nobody noticed. Nobody knew what that word was. He came back. He was forever changed by that. So, in my family, I have a lot of history of people experiencing the world imposing on them, right? What is so difficult for what you guys are dealing with is the world imposing itself on you. Your choices have become now narrow and limited. The freedoms that you had before are threatened, and just every day, I can't even imagine what your every day is like. The anxiety, the fear. And I don't have anything I can say that's going to make it better, right? Because there's nothing that can make it better. But I will say this, that next to my bedstand, I have a book, and it is a book of poetry from 750 AD. It's a book of Chinese poetry. And the title of the book is In Such Hard Times, right? And this book was written during what was called the Anshan Rebellion in China in 750 or so. And it was one of the worst humanitarian disasters ever. Like millions and millions of people died from starvation because of this war and starvation. And just that, like, all of us, each one of us is born wherever we're born, and the world around, we have so little control over what happens to us, right? The world does what the world does, and there's so much stupidity, so much ignorance, so much, as the Buddhists say, greed, hatred, and ignorance. And we're just subject to it. And all we can do, right? We don't have any choice about what we're subject to. But what we do have a choice is what we do with it, right? How we respond to it. And our task, I think, is to respond with never lose our humanity, and never lose our compassion for others, and to never lose that sense of beauty, of the richness of the world. And so you guys are on the front line of this, and to not, don't ever let anybody else take your hope from you. And by hope, I don't mean hope that it's going to get better, because it might not get better, but your hope of just like to be able to see the tree outside, and just recognize, wow, what a strange, mysterious world I'm part of. And you can always be there to help the person next to you. Because that's kind of what we're here for. We're here for love, and we're here for compassion. And what science, I think this larger view shows us is, again, that like our particular story, however it turns out, it's kind of all a disaster, but how disastrous it is, we have no control over. But what we can have control over is how we never lose sight of what an extraordinary, beautiful world is, and how tenuous it always was. Every tree, every living thing, every bug is living on the edge of its end. And that makes the world that much more beautiful. So, my message to people is just, the world is always there for you, is always beautiful. It is vast. It is vast and incomprehensible. And I hope that I hope that can offer some comfort in the hardship that you're going through, and that it's love. It's love. Never give up on love, because that's what the universe is. Like I'm a Buddhist. I'm, coming from a Buddhist perspective. And compassion, you can't have enlightenment. You can't know the depths and truth of the universe without compassion for all other living things. So, you know, we're all in it together in one messed up way or another.